Good evening, everybody, or good afternoon. I'm here in Dallas this week, so it's only 4:30 p.m. here. But hey, you guys, welcome back to Carnivorous Grandma Speaks Women of Wisdom series. I'm super excited today to have with me Nurse Kim. Hey, Nurse
Mm.
Kim.
Hey, how's it
Well,
going?
it's good. It's good. I'm gonna read my scripture for this show. So you guys know I always read a scripture when it comes to my Women of Wisdom series, and the scripture is Proverbs 14:1, and it says, "Every wise woman builds her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands." And the reason I love this scripture for this particular series is because I feel like women, a lot of times we are the homemakers, we're the ones who are making the meals, and when we learn something that can really benefit our families, we really start to benefit to build the house. So this is all about building a natural house, a physical house that is strong and healthy, and making the right choices. So I appreciate you, Nurse Kim. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, sure. My name is Kim. I am a nurse, as my nurse, as my name says, and I'm a carnivore. I live in Kentucky with my four boys, ages 11 to 22, and I'm a wife. I'm not super exciting, but but I hope I can provide you with something today, some sort of little nugget. I'm very nerdy when it comes to learning about low carb diets and how they can help our health. And where I didn't learn a lot of this stuff in nursing school and in my career in the medical field, um, I'm going down a different path now, and I'm trying to help myself and others in that way. So hopefully I can like really help people. Not that I don't help them at work,
Oh my
but.
goodness. Oh, you're glitching a little bit, but it could be me because I'm
Oh,
here in this hotel, you guys. So you never know, but we're gonna do our best.
okay.
So, but that's okay. So, you said that you have four boys, no
Yes.
girls.
No girls, just four boys.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So, I have four kids as well. I have three girls and one boy. They're
Oh,
all grown
yeah.
up. So, how old are your kids?
11, 16, 18, and 22, 21.
Okay,
I don't know
wow.
why I almost said 22. He'll be 22 soon, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah.
one of them's in elementary school. Two of them, the middle two, I homeschool, and the oldest is in college studying to be a history professor. So
Oh,
he just completed his first year of college. So I'm very proud of him.
wow, that's an amazing choice. Wow, a history teacher. Good for
Oh
him.
yeah, he's
Very
always
good.
he's been like a little professor since he was probably 4 or 5.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Wow, it's so rare that I ever hear anybody saying, they'll say I'm going into education or something like that, but something like being a history major, that's pretty
Yeah.
awesome. Good for
Yeah,
him.
he's taught me history way more than I learned in school since he was a little boy. He hears it and he remembers it and he regurgitates it and makes it interesting. It's very
Yeah.
difficult to make that interesting, but
That is so cool. I love that very much. So, Nurse Kim, tell us a little bit about your dietary journey. Like, how did you end up here at where you're at? Tell us about your what kind of eating plan you're on, and then how you got there.
Okay, so my journey with low carb started back in 2017 when I basically looked at myself on a video that my son and I made. And, we were just goofing around in the kitchen and I didn't recognize myself. Most of my life I had been a rather slender person. And suddenly, four children later, I was just pretty unrecognizable. And it wasn't even just the weight on the
Mm.
scale, it was inflammation. You can probably tell by the thumbnail picture. My 2017 picture was, I mean, that was only about, I guess that was probably about 20 actual pounds there in those two pictures.
Wow.
But the difference is just like night and day for me anyway. um, but yeah, so I started, heard about keto through actually a girl that I followed on YouTube. And even though I was a nurse, you know, nutrition is definitely not my strong suit, or wasn't. Um, and I just had to start studying it. And then I found Dr. Berry through a coworker. And so I've been watching Dr. Berry since then. That led me to carnivore. But my initial keto weight loss was 30 pounds. And then I did stop and I gained a little bit of that back. And then I probably gained 20 of it back at that point.
Yeah.
And then, when I found carnivore, I mean, I had no desire to do carnivore at all. I thought it sounded crazy, but Dr. Berry
Mhm.
said it and I trusted him. I have watched him so long and I have tried to pick apart what he said. Way back in the day, I would look at every little thing and say, does that make scientific good sense? And it always did. I couldn't catch that man on anything. So I just started to trust him and know that he was, what he said is pretty good usually. So
I agree with you. Dr. Berry I saw a few people that were carnivore. So I had kind of an interest in it. Um, like Kelly Hogan and some of the early folks that were doing carnivore and then also talking about it, right?
mhm.
And I thought I was intrigued, but it did sound crazy. It sounded like something that you shouldn't be doing because you're probably going to kill yourself doing it. So Dr. Berry, though, made so much sense. I agree with you. Like everything he said, and then he just started churning out content like a mad person, talking about
Yeah.
all the different ailments and I mean almost any kind of topic that you have a question about as far as a health concern that you have. He's probably got a video about it out there. It's pretty
Oh yeah.
cool. Mhm.
Yeah,
So
you're
yeah.
right, Dr. Berry and whatever, and there it is.
Yep. Absolutely. I totally agree. Like Dr. Berry has been a life-changing person for so many people. Like, I mean, there's a few names that get tossed around as, oh, yeah, I heard about carnivore from this person. And most of the time it's Dr. Berry
Mhm.
or who's the other one? Dr. Sean Baker, maybe. A
Yeah,
lot of people say his name.
I'd never even heard of any of those people. I guess primarily because I wasn't really looking into carnivore content.
Mhm.
The second person that ever talked about carnivore that I saw was Carrie.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah,
Mhm.
and so I watched his videos and I was just like, wow, this guy he just speaks with such passion. And I love that. He's just so nerdy. Like I love that. That's what I am. In my heart, I'm just like, I love this. I want to eat and breathe it, and just was thinking about it all the time. And so I would just keep watching his videos every day, and that
Mhm.
would lead me to the next carnivore and the next carnivore, and after that it's just a vicious cycle.
I know, and the content creators have exploded. So,
Yeah.
Gary, I never watched him before. I know he has a homesteading channel, and like
Yeah.
I'd never seen him before, but I saw him climbing on this pergola like a little monkey.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my God, this dude is crazy.
Yeah.
That's when I started watching him. So I know a lot of people have seen his 30-day video and that really brought a lot of people in, watching what happened to him in 30 days.
Yeah.
Um, but that pergola
And that
one
was
was
the
nuts.
first video I believe that I saw of his. I'm just like, "Who's this guy?"
Right, that's what I was thinking, "Who is this guy? He's crazy." like
Mhm.
climbing up on that thing. Yeah, and just being able to have that kind of energy really impressed me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so you've been on how long have you been on carnivore?
Tomorrow is my 1-year
Oh
carniversary.
my god, happy carniversary.
Thank
That is
you.
awesome.
I'm thinking
Congratulations.
Thanks. I
Wow.
think I might go live, and I
Okay.
was joking around that I was gonna go live and eat, like, a cowboy steak.
Yes, yes, yes.
I don't
You
know if that's
should.
for sure what I'm gonna do or not, but I think I will go live and just, kind of celebrate it in a way.
Definitely. Oh my gosh, tomorrow. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So tell us about what has happened in the course of this year. So you started out a year ago and we're feeling how and like how are you feeling now?
So, a year ago, I decided to start it because not only did I see Dr. Barry and Carrie, but I had read it wasn't a study, it was like a case study, just one lady basically, that she didn't even tell her story. It was like somebody reporting it anonymously. This woman's
Mm,
name's not even attached to this, but
wow.
she had chronic candida. And
Mm,
I have had chronic candida since I was 19 years old. Basically, right after I got out of the Air Force, I was in the Air Force for a year.
okay.
Developed chronic candida. And so, yeah, it's been a long time. I'm almost 49. I'll be 49 this month. Um, and so I thought, you know what? Dr. Barry, I trust him. I know if he's doing it, it's not completely crazy. So
Mhm.
I'm going to try this really weird diet for 30 days. I'm definitely not going to stay a carnivore forever. I have no intentions of that at the time. Had no intentions of that. Um, and so I went 30 days. 60 days and then 90 days. And I'm like, okay, I can't quit this. I've tried. I've tried to add stuff back. I've tried to quit it. I've been up and down and all around and backwards and forwards with my emotions and my thoughts about it, and just like, this is right, but this is not right. This is weird. I didn't
Mhm.
want to do it. Like, I resisted adding carnivore to my name for so long because I was just determined that, I'm just Kim. I'm not going to be carnivore Nurse Kim, because I'm not going to stay that forever, and I didn't want to be tied down to it. And then finally, about just a few weeks ago, I finally added it to my name because I'm like, you know what? I want to attract people to my channel that I have something in common with. And really, I'm not talking about nursing stuff at all.
Yeah.
I'm not the authority because I'm a nurse. If I have any authority at all, which I don't really have much, I'm just kind of one, you know, an N of one. But if I have any at all, it's just because I've studied this stuff for the last 7 years, you
Mhm.
know. So it's not because I'm a nurse, but I finally added that, and I'm like, I just want to attract my people. I want my
Yeah.
people to see my stuff, and if ever there's a point where I'm not a carnivore anymore, I'll just drop it, you know. But I don't see that happening. I really don't. I feel too good. When I try to add back the vegetables, or for sure, the fake stuff, my
Mm,
joints start hurting
mhm.
almost immediately. The next morning, I wake up with a headache, joint pain. It's not worth it, you know?
I totally agree. So tell us a little bit about what is candida and what like kind of symptoms did you have from that?
So, candida is yeast infections essentially. But it's not like people think. Like, you're thinking, I'm sure you're probably thinking, most people are thinking, uh, female yeast infections. And that's not the entirety of it. Yes, that's part of it. But when you have chronic candida, you kind of learn to uh, nip that in the bud early before it even turns into anything that's anything. because you just kind of learn what the triggers are, and then
Mhm.
you learn what little symptoms you will start to have, like, and then, so you'll take the medicine ahead of time so that you don't develop that. And I got really good at that, but it was kind of always just like keeping it at bay, keeping it at bay. And I told my doctor, I have chronic candida. I know that I do. I've always had it. And if I eat too many sugary things, not only will it develop there, but I'll develop rashes underneath my breasts.
Mhm.
One of the main things is I get like this scalp. Um, it's not like psoriasis, but it's kind of like little, it feels like little zits on your head. And it's
Mm.
just barely noticeable and it's just barely irritating.
Mhm.
I just know what it is because I have it, and I've always,
Right.
I've had it for years. Um, but when am being treated for candida, it goes away. So, you know, finally, I had one
Mm.
dermatologist that told me that agreed, yes, that's what it is. It's candida. But doctors don't really know a lot about candida, unfortunately. They think, oh, okay, well, here, just go to the store and get some cream for that, or, get this powder. And, they don't get it. They don't understand that this is coming from your gut, and it's an imbalance in your gut, basically. Um,
Okay. Mhm.
and it's kind of like SIBO, only it's SIFO, small intestinal fungal overgrowth. Okay. So my candida in my intestines um, just want to take over. And if you feed them at all, they're just like, give me more, give me more. And well, crazy to say, but they actually influence what you crave. They make
Oh,
you crave carbohydrates, because you've got that gut brain connection, and people don't realize that. Medical professionals don't realize that. It's not something that's common knowledge, but
yeah.
it sure does. And once you get that sugar out of your life, it you don't have those cravings. You don't want to eat a whole box of donuts and feed them.
Right.
I just call them like they're little monsters. They're down there like, give me, give us some more sugar, give us
So
something
interesting.
we can survive on.
Yeah. I was diagnosed with candida overgrowth at one point by my acupuncturist. She diagnosed that. And the symptom that I was having was I have hand eczema, but
Mhm.
I went to Europe for work, and when I came back, my hands just like I had huge blisters inside my hands. And I think, I was eating a lot of potatoes over there because they eat fries with everything
Oh.
over there where I was at. There's potatoes with every meal, fries. And so I was eating a lot of potatoes. And my hands just blistered completely up. So he put me on an anti-candida diet, which was a low sugar diet, but it did have a lot of vegetables in it. It didn't have any fruit, but it was like a low sodium type of a diet as well. So does sodium have anything to do with it?
Not to my knowledge. I've never had a problem with sodium. It's
Yeah.
the sugar.
Mm.
But there are a lot of different anti-candida diets online
Mhm, mhm.
that I think if a lot of them worked very well, there wouldn't be the groups that there are online talking about them and doing them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
if they're actually doing that and that is helping them as much as they think it is, then they wouldn't need to group together and meet like that, like, it would be
Mhm.
gone. Like, I'm not in that
Right,
group because I don't have candida problems
right.
anymore,
For
you
sure.
know? Like, all the groups on Facebook that I joined out of desperation, because the medical system can't help me. Ironically, I'm a nurse and the medical system can't help me, but, Anyway, I join all these groups on Facebook, and I don't feel a need to go to them anymore because I don't need anything from them, you
Right.
know? Um,
Hmm.
my symptoms have been put at bay. Now, if I go in my kitchen right now, and because my body, in my mind, this is how it works, okay? I don't know that this is actually how it's gonna pan out, but in my mind, my body is not completely healed yet. You know, I obviously still have some weight to lose. Um, and most of my good effects have not been tremendous weight loss. All right.
Okay.
The carnivore diet is not necessarily a super duper weight loss diet, especially in the beginning.
Mm.
It's a weight optimization diet, and you will get there eventually, whether you need to gain or whether you need to lose. You'll get to your, proper human weight, but it doesn't happen overnight. And I'm okay with that because this weight didn't get on my body overnight, you know. But my
Mhm.
inflammation is down tremendously. I mean, you can tell by looking at the picture, just in my face alone, you know. Um, and we're just going to take it one step at a time, and for me, feeling good is so much more important than that weight anyway, that I'm willing to just stick it out. I'm just
Mhm.
gonna hang in for the long haul. This is a lifestyle change for me. It's a way of changing my way of thinking.
Absolutely. Well, Sandra is in the chat chatting it up. So I'm just going to put up a couple of her comments here before we go on. So she says, good for your son for doing the history major. That's pretty amazing. She also mentioned Dr. Anthony Chafee. So, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, he's really awesome, but I never even saw anything from him until after I saw Carrie from Homestead How, which was last summer. So,
Yeah,
and I
same.
don't know how I missed him, but once I started watching Carrie and he started telling everybody to start a YouTube channel, that's when I started seeing all these YouTube content creators
Yeah.
from the carnivore space. But yeah, Dr. Anthony Chafee is pretty awesome.
Now, I created my YouTube channel to talk about my how carnivores helped chronic candida for me because of Dr. Barry suggesting it. But
Very good.
yeah, I was there during all that time, when Carrie was suggesting as well,
Mhm.
that people create YouTube channels, and he did get so many people out there, telling their stories, and it's really important.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
because, even though we don't necessarily think ourselves experts or who would want to even listen to me, I'm not really even that interesting. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't always have like the self-confidence every day that I'm going to get in front of a camera and talk.
Mm.
It's just not comfortable for me. I'm comfortable talking to people in person. But it makes you feel weird sometimes, and you get a little like, oh, did I say something weird? And then that's going to be on video forever. But it's so important. It's just so
Mhm.
important for the connection. It's
Yeah.
like, Robin, I was telling you earlier that I had watched some of your videos, especially the video with you and Carrie, and I just felt like I connected to you so much through our shared experiences. The
Mhm.
things you were saying, I was like, oh yeah, yeah. And I just wanted to add like what my experience was. And sometimes I will in the comments, but
Yeah.
it's so important that we get out there and share our stories because, you know, we need to be able to eat this way. And, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but there are a lot of people out there that don't believe that we should be eating this way. And
Okay.
there are a lot of people out there that want to push their agenda onto us. And I'm an independent thinker. I'm not up for that. So,
Yeah, same here. I might have a little bit of the conspiracy theorist in me. My husband's always like, "Okay, that's a conspiracy theorist." Like,
yeah, I'm
yeah,
not I'm
might
not at
have a little
all.
bit of it. I don't know, but the
Like,
stuff that I hear about the nutrition, um, our nutrition. Why is our nutrition the way that it is? And talking about, like the Seventh-day Adventist Church and um, Keys, what's his name? Ansel
Ansel Keys.
Ansel
Yeah.
Keys, who did this 7-country study when it was really more than 7 countries or something, and
22.
yeah, and didn't give the real data. And data can be manipulated to tell you whatever you want it to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened. And whether that's a conspiracy or not a conspiracy, it's the truth of what has happened and why we're in this predicament. And our whole society is sick.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's so many sick people these days that it's just incredible, unbelievable, the sicknesses that people are
Oh, yeah.
having. And it's just so I don't know if it's a conspiracy or not, but it's definitely a huge problem for us today, the choices that were made in history for us.
I tend to think more than a conspiracy. It's not one entity that's doing all this. Okay, it's this group and that group and these people in history, and it just all culminates into bad science, bad information, bad recommendations. And so if I can help to thwart that in any way, I'm going to. And I'm going to tell my story because
Mhm.
what I was taught in nursing school, what I have learned in the hospital, it's pretty much just the opposite from what I've experienced works in my life, in real life.
Right.
Um, so instead of, treating my conditions, treating my symptoms that I had, which were many, and I have a video on my channel that's pinned at the top if you want to see exactly how many symptoms I had. It's a ridiculous amount.
Mhm.
But instead of treating the symptoms of those, I've rejected all of that. I've rejected my own people. I'm a
Right.
traitor to the system, essentially. I'm
Right.
like, no, doc, I don't want your cholesterol medicine. I don't want this medicine. I don't want that medicine. I don't want to wait until my autoimmune disease completely, totally develops so that you can put a name on it and we can call it something. I'm going to treat myself with works. And, I mean, we've known this forever. Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. And I tell my patients that that's what I do. Okay. I can't tell them this is what you should do, but I tell them, I read to them, these are the recommendations that they tell you to do. This is okay. Now, let me tell
Yeah.
you what I do. you know. Um, so I get
Yep.
my opinions in there too, but I have to do it in a professional way. I
For
can't
sure. Yep.
I can't
How does the standard of care limit your
recommend that.
ability to
I'm sorry?
talk to I just wonder how the standard of care limits your ability to talk to people about, nutrition and diet.
Well, we don't really make very many recommendations on diet in any situation, other than if someone has heart problems or kidney problems or, one of these big, like congestive heart failure, that kind of thing. Otherwise, most conditions, they don't make any dietary recommendations at all.
Wow.
And especially, I'm kind of lucky because I work in a recovery environment. Um, so I'm a recovery nurse in a surgical recovery area, and so basically, what we'll do is just we treat everybody needs surgery, no matter what kind of diet you're on. If you're the most healthy in your whole life, you may have an accident and you may need a surgery. So that's what I take care of. I take care of, I get you through your surgery, I get you woke up, I get you home or get you back to your room on the floor. And that's pretty much the extent of what I'm doing. Now, if I
Mhm.
had to work in an area that I had to make nutrition recommendations, I think it would go against my core values too
Yes.
much. I could, at this point in my career, I don't think I could do that.
Right. That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, so I know that a lot of times coming out of surgery, they will give you like, I wanna say like graham crackers and Sprite and stuff like that in the
I mean,
hospital. Oh,
well, the requirement is that they drink some water. So I give
okay.
people water, and then, if they request crackers, it's fine. You know, I'll give them the crackers. That's their business.
Mhm.
I'm not here to judge them, but, you know, I wouldn't choose that for myself,
Right. Yeah,
you know? But, I
yeah.
mean, I also realize that I live in a world with people who haven't experienced what I've experienced, and even in my own household, like, I don't judge people for their choices of food because, we're all at a different point in our journey, and,
Mhm.
if I can be the lighthouse instead of, the judge, that
Yeah.
will be, more beneficial.
We have a couple of questions coming in. I'm gonna
Okay.
just pop up, but I do wanna put this up because this is true. We were talking about the Candida groups. She said you might not need these Facebook groups anymore, but they could use your help and knowledge. We need more knowledgeable carnivores in the groups. That's for sure.
So, I think that's Sandra, right?
Sandra.
Sandra, okay.
Yeah.
Sandra. So what I
Spelled Sandra, sounds like Sandra.
Okay, okay. So what I actually do is, I still have them on my feed. So if I'll see something, some desperate person in the group asking a question, and I'll just get in the comments and be like, "Oh, I had candida. I had chronic candida for 30 years, and I went carnivore, and all my symptoms have resolved. Yay!" And then I pop out, and then,
Yeah,
of course, other people will comment and they'll be like, well, it, but at least that one person got to hear that and
right.
see that. And it's still
Mhm.
there and it's in the group so anybody can see it.
Yeah,
But, I'm not up for getting in there and having big debates about things and, you know, but if it helps one person, that'll be great.
yeah, that would be awesome. Just, that's the thing is just having the courage to be able to say it
Yeah, and
because
a lot of those groups make you agree to the rules and
mhm,
read their, like, recommendations, and you can't say anything against their recommendations, so
right. It's hard. It's so hard. Even in my I'm big in my church. My husband's a as an assistant pastor. And so there's a lot of conflict that I have with the nutritional information that's coming out into the church. And so like, you know, I just have to, yeah, like you said, be the lighthouse.
yeah.
And I'm doing really well. I'm thriving on carnivore after being a carnivore for over a year. So people are seeing that, but I'm hearing about all these illnesses that people have, and it's so hard because you know, people think you're crazy.
Yeah.
You're doing the crazy thing. So, hopefully someday it will be less um, difficult to just get the message out. I guess that's why we have YouTube channels, right? So that
Yeah, exactly, and we can
yeah.
refer people to them, and they like you said in your interview with Carrie, it
Mhm.
may be something you're uncomfortable with discussing with somebody in person, but if
Mhm.
they wanna watch, they can hear what you have to say, and then if they don't like it, they can shut it off, and it doesn't have to
Yeah,
be an awkward thing in between you, with people in your normal life, they can just, they can keep scrolling if they want.
that's
So
true. Yes, indeed. All right, so here's another question that we have. Have you ever thought of just switching your career to nutritionist? Take some courses in nutrition and then switch over.
So I am currently in the Primal Health Coach program.
Oh,
So,
congratulations.
so that is actually my goal for what I'm calling my retirement job. Although, like I said, I'm 49, I'm nowhere near retirement. But the quicker that happens, the quicker I'm going to be retiring. But I
Awesome.
would like to do health coaching, primal health coaching, um, And I would like to do my YouTube channel and that's my goal. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen overnight. So in the interim, I have to keep going to work and being a nurse. And I love my job. I really do. I love my patients. I love talking to them. I love I love every part of it. Not every part of it. That's not true. I exaggerate a little. Sorry, guys. um, I love most of it. I have been a bedside nurse for 24 years, and I still like it. And that
Mm,
makes me a dinosaur, or that makes me not a dinosaur too, yes, but it makes me an oddity for sure. Like
yeah.
most people do not want to do bedside nursing for 24 years. They just don't. They don't even
Yes,
like
love
it.
people. That's
I
what that
do. I
yeah.
love people and I love teaching and I just love it. It's so I'll probably still do that a little bit even after I transition into my retirement job.
That's so cool. I've been really thinking about doing something similar. I've been trying to decide which program to do. So we'll have to
Okay.
have a side conversation about
Yeah.
it. You can tell me about that because I've
Yeah.
been, considering different options
Mhm.
and it is not cheap.
No.
So,
Now, I will say once a year, the Primal Health Coach program is half price. And that
oh,
is right after Christmas and right before New Year.
okay.
And that's when I got it.
Ah, smart,
Because
smart
and it
move.
was
Yeah,
on like a payment plan, so I
yeah,
I wasn't just forking over, the price of it.
yeah.
I wanted
Right.
half price. I wasn't gonna pay the regular price for anything.
Right. Right. I gotta get a deal on it.
Yeah.
That's awesome though. So, how long is your program and when will you be finishing?
Oh. So I think it's usually like a 6-month thing, but it's taken me a little bit longer because it's at your own pace. You just
Yeah.
do it at
Oh,
your own
okay.
pace.
Yes.
And I have not made the time for it that I probably could have. And
Mhm.
I'm not going to make excuses, but I'm just going to say that you know, it's not coming along as quickly as I could be doing it.
Right. Well, when you have a full-time job, it's in a family, it's a
Yeah.
lot,
Yeah.
so I totally get that,
And a YouTube hobby.
and yeah, and YouTube takes up the rest of the time. It's
Yes, it
like a
really
big
does.
sponge, it just sucks all your time out. So, yeah, I totally get that, and, that's why I haven't really moved forward on trying to get something going with that because I just don't have the time. My work is all consuming, and then whatever's left, I'm using it for YouTube right now, so
Yeah. Well, and I was too, and I wasn't even ready to purchase the program. Like, I had no intention of starting it right after I purchased it because
Mhm.
I just wasn't ready yet, but it's once a year that it's half price.
Yeah, so you gotta pay
So, I
all the
had to
hidden
strike
things,
while the iron was hot, you know?
right?
And the way I look at it, I was paying probably that much money a month to go see a functional medicine doctor who was not teaching me how to help myself, but she was helping me. So I thought, what's the difference? Why not just pay that money and learn how to help myself, learn how to,
Uh,
order my own labs and interpret those labs and, do that kind of thing. So that's
that
what I'm going for.
yeah, that's awesome, that's awesome. One of these days, I will be in the same boat with you. I've kinda started I took one course, but yeah, I got a long way to go.
Yeah, we need to talk about that.
Huh?
We need to talk about it
For
later, you
sure,
know?
for sure. All right, here's the next question. So Charlie's here. Hi, Charlie. Thank you for being here. He says, sorry if I missed it earlier, but what are the nurses taught about cholesterol? It seems somewhat recently, keto carnivore medical professionals have highlighted the beneficial things it does for us. Hmm.
We're taught what basically the same stuff that your doctors are taught. They're taught to a deeper extent, of course, but basically, you want to keep your cholesterol, lower. You don't want to have high cholesterol because
Mm.
it's going to cause you heart disease and and strokes. And I mean, we're not taught anything that resembles what we learn in the keto carnivore space at all. So,
Yeah.
and that's not just cholesterol, that goes for a lot of things. But yeah, I mean, we learn like what, that your body needs cholesterol, but we also, they teach it like, oh, you don't want to eat too many eggs because you're going to have high cholesterol. I guess it depends on when you go to school too. I went to school 24 years ago. So
Mm,
that's what they were teaching. Low fat is best, low cholesterol, you know.
yeah. So, it's just kind of like everything that we know about nutrition. It's upside down and backwards as far as what actually should be happening. It's so concerning because I feel like it makes me feel like we have such a long way to go till we get to the point where people actually know the truth about like cholesterol, salt. I'm hearing that, that most of us are undersalted. Like, we need more sodium, but the physicians will tell you that the reason that your body is bloated and inflamed is because you're having too much salt, which is actually just not true. Too much sugar, too
Not
much
true at all.
insulin.
Not true at all. And I know that from experience. That is nothing they taught me.
Yeah.
Okay. Once again, I have to go against my people. you know, if I bring an element packet to work and my friend has a migraine and I say, "Hey, go drink this," and I promise you will most likely you will feel better after this.
Mhm.
You may still have a headache, but you're going to feel a lot better. They're scared to death. They're like, 1,000 milligrams of sodium?
Yeah.
They're scared to death of it.
Right.
And it's just a normal thing in our world. Like, it's literally two different worlds that I'm in. And I got to thinking, I've often wondered, like, who can I help the most when I do get the knowledge that I need to be a health coach? Who can I help the most? And I think, wait a minute, Kim, shouldn't you be helping your own people? Shouldn't you take this back to your medical professional friends that are constantly asking you questions, and you're having to refer them to Dr. Barry? You're having to refer them to this video, that video, this study, that study.
Yeah.
And, shouldn't you be doing that? Like, maybe I should make a series just basically 101ing it, just starting from the
Yeah.
basic, okay, like, this is this, and let's talk about salt, let's talk about cholesterol, let's talk about all of this, because these people, and I may not be able to help everyone. That's not my goal, to help everyone. But if I
Mhm.
could help people that I know, that I don't really have time to sit and give them the whole rundown. I'd have to give them a 3-hour lecture just to get them to a point where I could teach them.
Right.
you know but if I could just give them, here, go to my YouTube channel, watch this, you
Yes.
know, that's what I'm really wanting to do.
Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see these videos when they come out. I can't wait. It's gonna be so
There's so
good.
much pressure now.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
put pressure
I'm
on it.
kidding, I'm kidding.
All right. So,
I'm not always, I do have a history of ADHD, which
mm,
most of the symptoms are gone now, and I'm off
amazing.
Adderall. That was one of the 15 medications that I managed to get off. I don't take any medications anymore. Um,
Congrats.
but I mean, part of this is personality, okay? Part of what we call ADHD is, it's just kind of how my brain works. I'm a creative,
Mhm.
I'm somebody who has 1,000 different ideas and needs a little direction occasionally. Needs to just, like I told you before your video, I sat down and basically wrote a book on the questions you sent me. It wasn't so I could sit here and read it. It was so I could, get my
Yeah.
thoughts all in
Mhm.
order. So
Yeah.
I need to actually sit down, and making me sit down is hard enough. I almost never sit down.
Well, I'm glad you're sitting here with us tonight.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So yeah, she's saying here that Dr. Tony Hampton took nutrition courses, and that is the thing that he did, is
Yeah.
that he really went and studied about nutrition.
Yeah.
And so I love Dr. Tony Hampton. He's
Oh,
one
I
of the
adore him. In person, he's just a lovely man.
yes, he
And
is.
he and his wife were at Keto Palooza, and they're just so adorable. I just love them. But
Yeah.
yeah, I talked to Dr. Hampton, and I told him, I said, I just feel like I'm just chatting with one of the docs at work when I talk to you. You're just like so relatable, so down to earth.
He
And,
really is.
we just chatted.
Mhm.
Yeah, they
Dr. Tony is a very cool guy. I
he
met
is.
him at the carnivore meetup in Chicago for the Healing Humanity
Mhm.
movie, before it was
Yeah.
called Healing Humanity. It was the first carnivore meetup that they had, and Dr. Tony came in and just taught the room for, like, an hour. It was
Wow.
amazing. He just came in,
He's
he met every single person, he heard their stories, he talked to everyone, and he is just a really, really awesome person in general. He's a really good guy.
he is a gem, and the way that even though I have medical knowledge, sometimes we need things broken down for us, folks. Okay?
Mhm.
And he breaks things down on such a common sense level, and he'll put it in a way where I'm like, "Huh, thought of it that way before." That makes sense.
Mhm. Yes, indeed. He's awesome. All right. So here's a question for you. Are your 4 boys carnivore and your husband, or at least low carb keto?
They are not. My 4 boys definitely not. They are eating more meat these days. But I didn't raise them that way. That's not the food that I provided for them.
Mhm.
So to just be like, okay, I'm carnivore now, and I'm still learning about it, by the way, even after a year. Everybody's just got to go carnivore now. That would be kind of not right.
Mhm.
Now, my husband, for me, did try kind of keto ish for the last few months, and he's done very well with it.
That's good.
Um, it's like I said, I'm going to be the lighthouse. you know, um, I think you draw more flies with honey than with vinegar. I don't want to be that mean mama who just goes and, makes everybody change overnight. I don't think that that's realistic, you know.
Mhm.
Um Unfortunately, we live in the modern world where most of the food in the grocery store is garbage.
It
I'm
is.
trying to make small changes in their life. And if that makes me, not a good carnivore, then I'm just not a good carnivore.
Well, I don't know what a good carnivore is, but your
I've had
kids are
people criticize me on my page for it.
yeah.
Oh, the children are still eating garbage.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
everybody
People can
else
be
is
pretty
in the world
dogmatic.
too. Like, I'm not saying this towards Sandra.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't. But to the guy that made the nasty comment on my page, it's like, okay, well, can we at least fix? Can I try to fix myself before I tell everybody else that I've discovered the way and make them do it too? I mean,
Yeah.
you know. So no, to Sandra, I would love for them to be like, yeah, hey mom, I want to try it.
Yeah.
And this summer I think I'm going to try to make some more recipes that are more like, oh, by the way, guys, that was actually a carnivore recipe, or that was Maria Emmerich's recipe. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's a good
it's
idea. So I was just gonna mention, one of the ladies from my show that we do on Monday nights is Rebecca at Carnivore Family, and she did transition her kids to a carnivore diet, but she has a whole process for how she did that. Your
uh,
kids are older too, though. I was just
yeah.
looking back at my notes, 11,
Yeah.
16, 18, and 21. So,
Yeah, if they were
well,
I mean, if they were little bitties, trust me, I would be like, "Flip that switch, honey, let's go."
yeah.
Um, but you can't tell a 22-year-old or a 21-year-old, I don't even know how old he is. You can't tell a 21-year-old, you
Mhm.
know, oh, you're gonna, do this,
Right.
you know.
Well, I think, maybe they will see you and decide they wanna try it. I'm thinking about Christy at Meeting Wellness, her son, who decided to try it and
Mhm.
has been on a, like, ketovore type of a diet for a
Yeah.
couple of months now, so and doing really, really well with his ADHD, I think.
Mhm. And
Um
that would be my goal for them, would be like a
Mhm.
keto-ish, or even a low carb,
Right.
something on the proper human diet spectrum. Whole
Exactly.
Foods. Whole Foods
Mhm.
would be a big
Yeah,
change.
that would be amazing. I have got these 11 grandkids, so I totally get it. And their parents, they're not feeding them carnivore, and they're not carnivores either. And
Yeah.
it's challenging.
Yeah.
So, but
And I
I
mean,
do
I don't think everybody needs to be carnivore either. Let me clarify, like I said,
Mhm.
proper human diet spectrum, whole foods, lower carb. Let's avoid diabetes. Let's avoid autoimmune disease. Um, yeah, I mean, I would like to transition them a little bit at a time and kind of maybe sneak some of it in there. But also, I mean, it's miraculous. Like when they see all the meat being cooked every day, I'm cooking one, two, three types of meat in
Mhm.
different ways. They're always in here like, hey, what's that, Mom? Can I try a piece of that?
Yeah.
And, my one son, my 11-year-old, he loves steak. He'll eat steak with me just about every day if I cook it. And
Mhm.
then my 21-year-old, he loves all the meat. He's like, Mom, this carnivore thing that you've been doing, he said this 6 months ago, but he said, this carnivore thing that you've been doing, I just love it because we've always got tons of really good meat around. And he loves to make sandwiches.
Yeah.
He worked at a sub shop for a while. So he learned how to make all these elaborate sandwiches. So he'll take this kind of meat and that kind and, makes his own sauce and stuff. And
Oh my
so
god.
yeah, I mean it's a good thing. They're getting more protein and they're
Yep.
going to be healthier
Yes.
regardless.
Yeah.
We did get cereal out of our house though.
That's
They
amazing.
stopped eating cereal, so I stopped
Mhm.
buying it. And
That's
I've
really
never
good.
been happier with that decision.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, that's probably one of the main thing the kids get is that breakfast food, that's
Yeah.
just poison. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
say it. It's
It's
just
I
poison.
mean, we need to prioritize protein, and
Right.
I consistently push that message with them. Make sure you're
Mhm.
getting your protein. Protein for
Yep.
breakfast especially.
So here is what there's a few, oh my gosh, see people are talking in the comments. I just want to bring this up. This is good. This is true. Explaining important $20 concept in terms of nickels and dimes for folks is a really valuable skill.
Yes, it
Maybe that
is.
was when we were talking about Dr. Tony Hampton. He is
Yeah, and I have something I've always said as far as that goes, like, I think what makes a good teacher is being able to remember what you used to not know, you know?
Mhm.
Like, before I was a nurse,
Yeah,
what did I not know?
right.
Before Dr. Tony was a doctor,
Mhm.
how would he have needed to have that broken down for him? And
Right.
some people are really good at remembering that and remembering what it was like. It's kind of like remembering what it was like to be a kid and how your
Mhm.
mind worked then, you know?
Yeah,
You need to be able to do that to be a good teacher and to relate to people.
that's true. Very good point. All right. So, Sandra says, well, at least they're eating more meat now. That's a good thing. Baby steps. I totally
Yeah.
agree. Yeah. Baby steps to get there because, and that's what I tell everybody is if you do one thing, you just need to make sure you eat more meat. Just eat
Yeah.
more meat. If you don't
And
do
it's like
anything else, eat more meat.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
then also those like 1% changes. I've heard several people say this, and I don't know where it originated from, but just be 1% better. I know I hear Bob, um,
Yes.
what's his name?
Semi-retired
Semi-retired Bob.
dog.
I hear
Mhm.
him saying this, and I've heard other people say it too. And that is just be 1% better than you were yesterday. And that's what I try to do with my carnivore. And that's what I try to do with my knowledge base. I'm
Yeah.
constantly watching these carnivore YouTubers and these doctors who are speaking on low carb subjects. And I
Mhm.
just want to learn just a little bit that
Mhm.
I might just get a little nugget out of it, but I'm going to add that to my knowledge base, and I'm going to be 1% better than I was yesterday. And it's going to help me. It's going to help my health, and eventually, hopefully, help other people.
Absolutely. I cannot believe it, but we're at 55 minutes already.
Oh,
This time has gone incredibly fast. Like, oh my gosh, you're just gonna have to come back again. We didn't even get
yes.
to talk about food or anything. So you
Well,
definitely
I've
gotta
got a
come
whole
back.
story I didn't even tell you about.
So we're gonna get you back for sure. This has been really, really
Yes,
good. I've,
I would love
really
to.
enjoyed talking with you, but I wanted to just ask you, um, let's see. Let's talk about your channel. Let's bring your channel.
Oh,
Oh, Sandra wants you to tell the story.
oh,
Okay. Do you have time? Do you have time to tell the story? Because I'm all ears for the story if you have time to tell it.
I mean, are we talking just like the story I wrote down?
Yeah, the story that
Okay,
you
so
wrote
the
down.
reason, guys, that I wrote this story down is because sometimes I feel that it's hard for you to know your own story, okay? Because you've lived it, and it's hard to, like, sometimes I'll even put together, like, you know, oh, I did develop the first symptom after this happened. Like, it's hard to get your own timeline going. So if you write it down, it helps. Okay. So, well, I mean, it's not an exciting story, but I'll just read you just like a little bit of what I wrote.
Okay.
So I was an only child. I grew up in rural Kentucky, raised by two parents that stayed married for 23 years. So I had a good start in life. Um, my dad was a bit of a drinker, but I really didn't grasp that because my mom kind of hid most of that from me. My mom is just a very nurturing, just super, like, the best mom, just the best
Mhm.
mom. And my dad's passed away. He died of ALS about 12 years ago. And my mom's still alive. She's in her 70s, mid 70s. Um, but I ate good balanced meals at home. But my mom worked late. She was a big career woman, and I, went to daycare or babysitters and stuff like that. And so about 1 to 3 times a week, we ate fast food for dinner. As a child, I had several food reactions that we just kind of ignored. And I didn't even think about till I was an adult. One was red dye, one was shredded wheat, one was apples, and one was chow mein, of all things.
Hmm.
I got headaches and dizziness to most of that. Had bad headaches as a child, and also ADHD symptoms. I was very inattentive, but I wasn't hyper and, like, didn't act out in class. So they didn't, it was the 80s. They didn't get that. But mostly I was healthy other than that. And I rarely ever went to the doctor. Um, I didn't have a lot of snack foods in my house growing up, and I think that was a big, determinant of me being a thin child. And I ate like a bird, as my mom would say. And we didn't have sodas and stuff. My dad had some, but he would stop and get his. So I didn't crave sweets as a child. I remember when my dad would take me to the store as a child, he would say, "Hey, what kind of candy bar do you want?" And I'm like, "I don't want a candy bar." Like, I had no interest at all. And now I can't even imagine saying that. Like, now as a carnivore, I can, but like my old self, I would be like, "I want all the candy bars." But yes, I didn't really crave sweets as much as a child. I wanted, like, sausage biscuits and stuff like that. Now, when I was 19, I went into the Air Force, and that's when I first remember my health problems really starting. While I was in the Air Force, it was only 1 year because I got hurt. I hurt my hip. I have
Mhm.
SI joint dysfunction, basically, and that's why I had to get out, because I wasn't worldwide capable or whatever. So Okay, so I had migraines there. I had the SI joint problems, and then I started developing the chronic candida. So I had one yeast infection while I was in the Air Force, right? during that year. And then after I got out, that's when it started. So part of me is like, what do they give you when you go in the Air Force? All of those, you go through a line and they shoot into both arms. Who knows what it is?
Mm.
I'm not an anti-vaccine person by any means, but like, what did they put in my arms? I have no clue. So anyway, I'm not saying that's what caused it. I'm just saying between that and then eating their government food, which goes by the food pyramid. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm eating all of this stuff 3 meals a day, whereas I was eating like a bird before. I came out of the Air Force and I felt my upper thighs rub together for the first time.
Oh, no. Sorry.
Okay. So I had gained some weight, I had some inflammation, there was some unhealthiness starting. Okay. Um, Now the hip pain continued and the chronic candida continued, but the migraine subsided till my mid 20s to late 30s. My menstrual cycle got really bad. I was in lots of pain. I discovered I couldn't tolerate wheat and sugar anymore. And by the time I was 40, it was like, you
Mm.
have lots of food sensitivities now, and you have a chronic cough, and you're getting thrush all the time, and you're getting, other symptoms of yeast, chronic yeast, and pneumonia 3 times in 4 years. So it was really obvious at that point that, like, suddenly I wasn't a healthy person anymore. I had to do something. And all that happened around the same time that I discovered the ketogenic diet. And then I started discovering as I did the ketogenic diet that this is the way. you know like this is what's healing you. This is
Mhm.
what's keeping you from getting candida, pneumonia, aches and pains, joint pains, all these autoimmune symptoms. I had like a whole list of autoimmune symptoms, but no diagnosable autoimmune disease. It
Mm.
was the diet. Diet is the only thing that's ever helped me. Doctors have never helped me. I
Yep.
mean, they might have helped me here or there, but like in the grand scheme of things, doctors have not brought me to health.
Right.
Diet has brought me to health. So
Mhm.
sorry, I have to betray my
Wow.
people once again.
Sandra says Jesus is the way, and yes, Jesus is the way. Yes, and I really believe, so this is why I read my scripture. And I believe that the Lord is revealing to us what we should have known all along. And that, this food problem, he's letting us see it, like it in the scripture, it says the truth will make you free. And that is exactly what's happening, is that people are seeing so much food freedom from eating a proper human diet. So I think that absolutely, I totally agree with that. And I feel like the Lord is revealing it to us, allowing us to see this. Whether you believe in God or not, though, it doesn't matter if you believe in God or not. The truth is still the truth. And
The
the truth
truth will
is,
set you free,
the
and
truth
that's
will
for
set you
certain.
free. And basically, when you get to eating a carnivore, keto too. I mean, a lot of people can
Mhm.
stay at keto.
Yeah.
They don't have maybe the disease state that causes them to actually have to go all the way to carnivore. But if your disease state lets you stay at keto and you can be fine and functioning and thriving and healthy, and your body is like healing and all of that, keto will also give you
Yeah.
some degree of food freedom as well. I found that I still had cravings on keto, and it wasn't curing all my diseases the way carnivore does. So I recommend, if you can try it for 30 days and see,
Exactly,
because
yeah.
that level of freedom, I've never had it. I mean, I've always had this obsessive nature with food. Like, even, I talk to my mom, and whenever I talk to my mom, we always talk about food, and I'm thinking, I don't really want to talk about food. But, she's still eating carbs. So,
Yeah.
that obsessive thing with the food, it's
And,
something that she's still dealing with.
I don't know about you, but I've discovered there's so much creativity and so many ideas within me that I need to get out, since I started eating in a way that I can just like eat this and then be full for hours and hours and hours and not have to make that the focus of my whole life. Whereas before I would wake up, I would cook breakfast, I would clean, I would hang around the kitchen. It'd be lunch. Then I'd have to make lunch. Then I had to clean. It was like my entire life revolved around what I was going to cook, when I was going to cook it.
Yep.
I life is for living, folks.
Exactly.
you know, let's get out there and live, and let's get out there
Mhm.
and get ideas out and meet new people and experience new things. And it's just, I mean, it just made my brain light up in such a way um that honestly I kind of felt a little bipolar at first. I've shared this before, but I'm like, guys, I'm not bipolar, but like I feel almost like a hypomania, like
Mm.
I guess it's just my brain feels alive for the first time in probably 30 years.
Yeah, I get it because I remember telling my husband, I'm feeling like unusual, I feel happy.
Yeah.
Like
And you're not used to being happy.
I feel so happy and it was so shocking that I felt happy and it was such an unusual feeling. Like okay, so I have not been happy all these years, but all of a sudden I felt happy and that was a really cool feeling. Like, oh wow, this is a great feeling. So I totally get where you're coming from.
It's
All
wild.
right, I'm gonna share your channel.
Okay.
So let me bring it up, and then you can tell us a little bit about what you are doing on your channel. Here we go. Okay. Yep, I see you change your title,
Yeah.
your handle. Yep. So tell us a little bit about your channel and what are you doing out here?
Well, so I make sure to post something at least once or twice a week. So
Mhm.
right now, my consistent every week thing is on Sundays at 5 p.m. I do a low carb book club,
Yeah.
which started out just basically because I had a desire to read more and gain
Mhm.
more knowledge about low carb diets, and really learn like the deep science about it. And
Yeah.
so it was kind of a selfish thing in the beginning, but then I wanted to do it as a group, kind of
Yep.
take other people along with us as we did it.
Yeah.
So I have Lynn from Midlife Carnivore and
Mhm.
Carrie from My Metamorphosis,
Yeah.
and we do that together. And anyone is welcome to join us if you want to read the book that we're reading. It's really on a book by book basis. It just so
Mhm.
happens that all three of us have been pretty consistent at wanting to read all the books
Right.
because we're very similar in that respect. Um, but yeah, so I do that. And then now I am actually kind of an extra on the keto cookout with Russ
Oh, nice.
Mitchell.
Yeah.
And so I'm like one of his kind of frequent co-hosts.
Mhm.
He rotates out through several now. So we're doing that and I'm enjoying that.
That's a fun show.
And then trying to make some videos. I used to do a lot of truck chats where I would just kind of talk and drive around town, and then I'll chop up the video to make it a little more interesting where I'm not just staring off into space at a red light for 10 minutes. you know. Um but yeah, so I do a few of those, and then I like to make a few shorts here and there, and
Yeah, yeah,
recipes,
fun.
just basic recipes though. I'm not an elaborate cook. I just like to show how I make my meats in my air fryer usually.
Mhm. People wanna know, they're like, "How do I make this? How do I make something taste delicious?" And the air fryer is such a great tool.
Yeah. Oh, and I like to do Costco and especially Sam's Club. I'm like a Sam's Club super fan.
Yeah, I do. I love
So,
Sam's Club. Sam's Club is like the other side of town, and Costco is 7 minutes from my house, so I always end up there. So I say it's one of my favorites, but I really like Sam's Club, especially
I
on
love
the
Sam.
days when they have the meat sales.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Oh. So,
Oh, thank you, Sandra. She said she's subbed to my channel.
yes, that's great. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, Nurse Kim, we're gonna have to have you back. I'm gonna put in my preemptive,
Absolutely.
we're gonna have to have you back because we didn't get to talk through. There's so much on my list of questions we didn't talk about, but this was so awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it was. It
Yeah.
was awesome.
So, yeah. So thank you, Sandra, for subbing to Nurse Kim's channel. For anybody
Yes, thank you.
um, that is not subbed to Nurse Kim, please take a look
Come on
at her
over.
channel. Go and check her out. I love the book club. So, it's so hard to watch all of the channels, to be honest, but it's like the book club. If I can catch the book club, I really, really enjoy that.
Mm.
Because you give the spoilers on the book, and I love that because I don't have time to sit and read the whole book.
I guess it does work well for people who don't read the book as well.
Yes, it's like the cliff notes. I love it so much. So keep up the good work on
Thank
that.
you. And
Um,
there and we chit chat a lot too. We like to interject. We like to have enough time to where we can like add side stories and diversions and things like
yes,
that,
yes, it's
and
a really,
talk about weddings and,
yeah.
Lynn's daughter is getting married
She
and
just got married. I just saw the
yeah,
show
or yeah,
about it.
I
Yeah.
think it was it Friday? I think it was Friday.
So I saw the video yesterday. So maybe it was Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw the video
Oh,
come out yesterday.
yeah.
And she was doing good and eating meat only. So good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome. Carrie's awesome. I love my girls.
Yeah.
We've become like a little trio, and we're gonna start some other stuff pretty soon too. I always forget to plug stuff. I'm not really a great like YouTuber, but I love YouTube though. I really do. So I
It's
wish you'd come
fun.
over and
It is
visit.
fun.
But
Mhm.
we're gonna be doing the ketogenic textbook. We're all purchasing it. I already have it,
Oh,
and they're
wow.
gonna purchase it, and it's actually a really thick textbook that's going to be used probably in medical schools and stuff like that. And so we're going to do like a read through type series, a study group per se. Okay. So we're going to just like sit there, all three of us, we're going to read to each other, and then we're going to discuss, like a classroom setting type thing,
Oh, that sounds awesome. I love it, that you guys are the brainiacs. So, yeah,
We're
you guys
nerdy.
are brainiacs. I love it because then I could just come and be in the chat,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
enjoy while you guys do the brain work. So,
Well, I mean, we would love to have you. I'm sure you'll add a lot to it. Everybody in the chat always does.
yes, yes.
We
Every
need
time
you
I can
guys.
catch it, I try to watch that one because I really love those book reviews and some of the books that I haven't read yet.
Yeah.
So, definitely, I really enjoy the book reviews. So, Sandra says, "I love being nerdy and absorbing info."
Me too,
Yes.
Sandra. It's awesome.
All right. Well, we are going to wrap it up. It's an hour and 13 minutes. I really do try to honor people's 1 hour time frame. So,
Well,
thank you
thanks
for
for
taking the
going
time.
over and humoring
Yeah.
me with now I didn't even read a third of what I've written.
Oh
So
my gosh. So
I may have over on my channel, just I may just go through and read and discuss everything I wrote.
okay. So make sure you give me that link. I'll put it in the community tab.
You got me organized, okay? It takes a lot. It takes a lot.
Oh my gosh. You're the first person to tell me that you actually wrote down about the questions that I sent you. So that's
Well,
pretty
it's because I
awesome.
get off track. It's my old ADHD ways,
Mhm, mhm,
and
mhm.
and I like to just think of it as creative minds. We
Yeah,
get a little off track at
absolutely.
times,
Sometimes,
but it
sometimes.
was fun. I think we've discussed quite a bit. So
We did. We absolutely did.
mhm.
All right, you guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I think we've covered all the questions in the chat. So we're gonna get Nurse Kim back because she is super cool, and I just love talking to you, Nurse Kim.
Oh,
So
thank you.
um,
Same.
thank you so much for coming by. Now, listen, guys, if you want to come and be on this show, this is Carnivorous Grandma Speaks, Women of Wisdom series, or Carnivorous Grandma Speaks. Let me know, and you can do that by sending me an email at robin.heron@hotmail.com. And I would love to have you on so you can tell your story. So just send me an email and we'll get back to you. If you guys are watching watching the replay, thank you so much. If you're watching live, thank you so much. We're so glad that you were here to spend this time with us. All right, you guys, we will see you next time. Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye. Thanks, Robin.